Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitamena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadadi Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yudapatakamanam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sakitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakamvitam Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschata Dasatarine Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Giramyat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva Cha Patitanam Pavinebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayata Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratvise Namaha Namo Brahmane Devaya Go Brahmane Itaya Jagaditaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha E Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostude Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sude Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So on behalf of SCORBOROUGH, I would like to warmly welcome each one of you. It's been a long time since I've met all of you personally. As Prabhu mentioned, I'm mostly in USA, either in Portland or in San Diego or in Dallas. So I come for a few days. So last year I was away for almost 300 days out of 365 days. So I've been traveling, but it's great to catch up with all of you. But it's not, I've been out of spiritual activities or something like that. So you can rest assured us it's all well connected wherever I'm in. So that's the glory of Srila Prabhupada's movement. There is always the opportunity to tie into one of the centers or to do Zoom classes, Bhakti Vriksha classes, etc. So a lot of fire sacrifices as well. So today, the topic that we have chosen, as you can see, transforming mundane into the divine. Mundane means non-spiritual activity. Okay, so it's a very practical session today. For those of you who have attended Srimad Bhagavatam classes and other sessions, anytime we do a PowerPoint presentation, you will know we pack in a lot of materials into one session. Okay, so be ready, fasten your seat belts. It's not one of those, nice little story we'll hear and then we go home. This is nicely to pack things up, to internalize for our benefit. And also, transforming the secular to spiritual. So again, the title may be a little overwhelming, but it's a very, very simple verse that we have taken. One of the most practical verses from Bhagavad Gita. Secular means nothing to do with, say, religious activities, right? So normal things that we do, how can we convert that to be a spiritual activity? So today is Sunday, 22nd of January 2023. For those of you, if you have not met, Happy New Year. It's a bit late, but still better late than never. So we will go through this wonderful verse today. So scriptures always teaches, always remember Krishna and never forget Lord Krishna. Is that a reminder for all of us, right? So it's easier said than done, right? How can we remember Krishna always, right? So always is the key. How can we remember? Is it practical? Is it not practical, right? So at the end of today's session, we will have a better understanding how practical is this, right? So it's relatively speaking, but you'll see the advantage of that. So Krishna does not just speak Bhagavad Gita and say, you shall do it this way and walk away. He's giving practical hints on how to remember him all the time, and we'll go through that. So this is one of the fascinating verses that are often quoted. This is from Padma Puran, as you can see. Smartavya satatam Vishnur, Vishmartavya na jatushit, sarva vidhi nishedhyachor, etayor eva kinkara. So maybe I'm going to get somebody to read the translation so that we have some interaction. That's one of the advantages of having the multimedia presentation, is that not only we use one of our senses, but we use multiple senses, right? Sense organs. So you have eyes, you have ears, you have tongue to chant, and then you have phone or iPad or paper and pencil to take some notes, that the sense of touch as well. So maybe we'll get Amar Thakur Prabhu to read the English translation.
Thank you, Prabhu. Krishna is the origin of Lord Vishnu. He should always be remembered and never forgotten at any time. All the rules and prohibitions mentioned in the Shastras should be the
Servants
of these two principles.
Wonderful, thank you. So here, I've highlighted the relevant portion of what we are going to cover today, right? So here it is said, always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. So is this verse talking about that directly, right? Okay. So I put 2 more slides of verses that will jumpstart our mind or memory into this topic of always remembering Krishna and never forgetting Krishna. So maybe we'll get one of the Matajis to read English translation.
Is it too small for that?
That's too small for you. Anybody can read this?
Hearing and chanting about the transcendental holy name, form, qualities, paraphernalia, and pastimes of Lord Vishnu, remembering them, serving the lotus feet of the Lord, offering the Lord respectful worship with 16 types of paraphernalia, offering prayers to the Lord, becoming his servant, considering the Lord one's best friend, and surrendering everything unto him. In other words, serving him with the body, mind, and words. These 9 processes are accepted as pure devotional service.
Thank you. So again, I've highlighted the relevant portion, remembering them, right? So remembrance is very, very important. And this is one of the verses that was actually narrated by anybody? Prahlad Maharaj to his father, Hiranyakashipu. Yeah, so he said, hey, my dear son, what did you learn? And then he, narrated this particular verse. Even though his teachers did not teach him this, what he heard was when he was in the womb of his mother, Kayadu, when Narada Muni was teaching. So this is a verse that Narada Muni had taught him, and then he mentioned it to Hiranyakashipu. So maybe this is another beautiful verse from 9:24:61. So maybe we can get one of the Prabhus to just read the highlighted sections. Anybody, Prabhu?
Simply by remembering him, one will be freed from all the lamentation and unhappiness of material existence.
Yeah, so again, remembering, right? So when you remember the activities of the Lord, pastimes of the Lord, then the lamentation and unhappiness of material existence is gone. So maybe one of the Matajis, just the highlighted portions.
Things that are very difficult to do become easy to execute if one should how or other simply remembers Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Thank you. So this is a beautiful verse again, Katanchana Smrite Yasmin Dushkarat Sugaram Bhavat. So this is a beautiful verse. And again, just by remembering, simply remembering Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then all the very difficult things become easy to do. So this is a takeaway. This is a message for all of us, right? This particular verse, right? So things that are very difficult. So it's again a relative statement. You may be working as a doctor, as an engineer, as a teacher, does not matter. So it's relatively speaking, you will have some difficult situations. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah.
Or maybe we'll ask the devotees to raise your hand if you do not have any problems. Anybody? Anybody has no problems? Yes.
What does this mean by that? The first box,
Yeah.
that offering the Lord respectful worship with 16 types of paraphernalia. What are the 16 types?
So this is 16 type of paraphernalia. Some of them that were done today. If you are a little earlier, we did the Prabhupada, you can say the puja here, right? In simple terms. So you offer various ingredients to welcome that personality or to give respects to them. So 16 upacharas it's called, right? So 16 different items like dhoop and deep and asanam, it's just like you're inviting a visitor who's coming to your house from a far off place, right? In those days they walk and come. So what do? You give him washer to wash padhyam, right? To wash the feet, and then you give him water to take bath, right? And then you give him some food to eat. So all those are, you give him even the sacred thread, a dress to wear, right? So those are the various ingredients that are offered during pujas. Okay, good question. All right, so this is a beautiful verse. Things that become very difficult will be very easy in the end to execute if you just simply remember Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? But on the the flip side, if you do not remember him, even the easy things become difficult. Okay, so it's not only one way, right? So it's the other way as well. If you do not remember, then easy things become difficult as well. So can one of you, Prabhus, read this particular verse? The highlighted one. If you become, bottom right, or you can't see. Okay, so if you become conscious of me, you will pass over the obstacles of conditioned life by my grace. Again, it's like the coin, right? You have one side is heads and the other side is tails, right? When you go for toss in a cricket game or any game, right? The two sides. So one is, if you become conscious of me, if you think of Lord Krishna, remember Lord Krishna, then all the obstacles of conditioned life you can easily pass over, right? So Krishna does not say, you are a devotee, you are chanting 16 rounds, you will have absolutely no problem. Have you read any verse from like that in Bhagavad Gita? But what he says is, if you become conscious of me, you will pass over. Think of a helicopter or a Royal Caribbean cruise going on an ocean, right? There's a lot of sharks and everything. There's so much of storm and everything. You'll be able to pass over all the sharks and everything. So similarly, you have volcano and everything erupting then, but you can pass over in an aeroplane without any problem, right? So you will have, in material life, we will have problems, but we'll be able to pass over, almost like a hurdle jump, right? You'll be able to easily jump over it and go. But the other side of the coin is, if you do not work in such consciousness, then you will be lost, right? So both sides of the coin, right, in both these particular verses. So again, the message is, scriptures teach us, always remember Lord Krishna and never forget Lord Krishna. So we know these famous verses 9.34 and 18.65, right? So Manmanabhav Mat Bhakto. So here almost 2.5 lines are exactly the same. Just imagine in that 48 minutes that Lord Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, and through Arjuna to all of us, you know, he's repeating almost the same verse twice. So how important it is, right? In that 48 minutes he's repeating it. Almost the same. But again, the highlighted line is, engage your mind always in thinking of me or remembering me. And then we have this 6.30. This is one of my favorite verses, Yomam Pashyati Sarvatra, right? So if one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I'm never lost and he's never lost. What do we mean by that? For one who sees me everywhere. So Krishna is saying, remember me, think of me all the time. So one who sees me everywhere, that means when you see everywhere, you know, sun and the moon and the wind and the fresh smell of this, of the earth after rain, Krishna says, I am this, I am this. So in a way, you'll be able to remember Lord Krishna everywhere. This is one beautiful verse. One must somehow think of Krishna whether in a friendly way or inimically, right? Like how Kamsa was always thinking of the Lord, but he's always thinking in a different way, right? But he was actually thinking of the Lord. So here, this is in the 7th canto, it says, one must somehow think of Lord Krishna whether in a friendly way or inimically. So we are all devotees, we think in a friendly way. But even if you think in a, any other way, then it's good, because thinking of Krishna is more important than why are you thinking of Lord Krishna. Is that okay? Yes, Prabhu.
The 6.30, the second part, and sees everything in me. Could you just expand a little bit?
Beautiful, yeah. So one who sees me everywhere, it's very obvious, right? When you go out, you feel the wind, you see the heat of the sun. Then when you eat the vegetables, Krishna says, I'm the juice by which the vegetable grows, right, from the moon. So all that is seeing Krishna everywhere, right? That's very obvious. The second part is sees everything in me. So in the 11th canto, in the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna is showing his Virat Rupa. So Virat, for those of you who follow sports, cricket, Virat Kohli, remember that name? So that Virat means massive, big, right? So everything is within Lord Krishna. So Mother Yasoda saw everything within Lord Krishna, not once, but twice, right? When she was feeding Lord Krishna, he yawned and she saw the entire universe. And another time, of course, when Krishna, when he was accused of eating mud, and then he opened them. So twice. And then many other times this Virat Rupa was shown. Many times. I think we did a class here. I think about 8 times that Virat Rupa was shown. So everything is within Lord Krishna. So it's two parts of the coin, right? One is one who sees me everywhere. When you go out, everything is Lord Krishna in one way. And then another one, everything is within Lord Krishna because of this Virat Rupa. Is that okay? Okay, so when we always remember Lord Krishna, then what happens? We are always protected and we are blessed. and our consciousness changes for the better, and perfect consciousness ensures a return to the spiritual world. Okay, so very simple flow here, right? So when we always remember Lord, so basically today's session is meant to increase the frequency of us remembering Lord Krishna. If we remembered him once a week on Sundays when we come to ISCKON Scarborough, Sunday morning 10:30 to 1, once a week, we want to increase that frequency to, every day, every hour, if possible, every few minutes as well. So that's the intent of this session. So which is to change our consciousness, and better consciousness or perfect consciousness take us back home, back to God. And another reason why we have to think of Lord Krishna is because of this, right? So we know when iron is in contact with fire, it acquires the characteristics of the fire. Have you seen that before? Right? When you put a big iron rod in a fire, then that iron rod itself can be used like fire. You can take it and there's a bunch of paper, you put that fire, that rod with molten fire, then that will catch fire as well. Right? So that's the intent. Okay. Now we are coming to the crux of it, right? Does Lord Krishna teach us within Bhagavad Gita how one can easily remember him, especially when 90% or greater than 90% I put, right? So greater than 90% of our daily time is spent out of my home altar or temple premises. Is that a fair statement?
Yes.
Right? So we are coming to the temple once a week or maybe twice a week, and then we go to our home altar every day for about an hour or two. But most of the other times, we are away from the altar. Okay? So can that be turned into spiritual activity? So does Krishna just say, always think of me and walk away? Or does he give you clues how to think of it? So that's what we are doing, like condensing everything from the 7th, 9th, 15th chapters of Bhagavad Gita is here. Okay? So these are Lord Krishna's opulences, energies, expansions and manifestations from Bhagavad Gita chapter 7. I just extracted the essence of chapter 7 where there are 16 plus opulences, right? Krishna says, I am the taste of water, right? So you can think of Lord Krishna. So when he says, yeah, always remember me, and he's giving clues, right? So it's not like he's saying, go find it yourself how to remember me. No, he's saying, I'm the taste of water, I'm the light of sun and the moon, ability in man, original fragrance of earth, heat in fire, right? So we all have, this is Canada, it's cold, and we have this heat, which is a byproduct of fire, right? So you can see that Krishna's presence, you can feel Krishna's presence everywhere. Life of all that lives, little ant that just crawls, right? What a beautiful creation, right? So you can think of Lord Krishna because Krishna gives all these examples, right? Few more examples, I'm not going to go through all of them. I'm the intelligence of the intelligence, right? So you may be at work, and then that could be a very intelligent person working with you. You are wondering, oh my God, what a smart, intelligent person. You can think of Lord Krishna. Krishna has made him intelligent because Krishna is saying, I'm the intelligence of the intelligent. Proverbs of the powerful man, all these weightlifters, Olympic weightlifters, even if you're watching something on TV or wherever it is, you're watching some powerful personality lifting something, you can think of Lord Krishna. Because those are prescribed specific examples that are given by Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, strength of the strong, and then goodness, passion, and ignorance, and everything. He combines everything and he says everything, right? So, quickly going through chapter 9, right? So he gives you more example. How can we think of Lord Krishna? Everybody follows? Right? We're just extracting it and putting it to that title, Scriptures teach us always remember Lord Krishna, never forget. So how can we do this? These are practical examples. So what I want you to do is, each one of you take one or two from here and internalize it. In the end, we will ask you some of the questions as to what was your takeaway from chapter 7. Is that okay? Chapter 7, what are a couple of things that you can take away for you to remember Lord Krishna all the time? Okay? Are we okay? You've taken one or two? One is enough, okay? Okay, chapter 9. This is more, right? So 32 opulences. When you see a fire sacrifice, that is Krishna. He's saying, I am sacrifice. Offering to the ancestors. You do the Shraddha ceremony. Every year it is done, or every month. Actually, it's done during every month, right? My father still does it, right? Every Amavasya, he does that to his ancestors, right? So, that is also a way to remember Lord Krishna, because Krishna says, amongst the ancestors, he is ... starts with A. Aryama. Yeah. Okay, so I'm the butter, right? So Krishna, we say he's, stealing butter. How can he himself can steal himself, right? Here he says, I'm the butter, right? In the 9th chapter. And Father of the universe, I'm the mother. When you think of your own mother, your own father, you can think of Lord Krishna. He's the support, right? Just imagine all these Himalayas and all these oceans are on planet Earth. And he is supporting that. That's the last one in the green box, right? I'm the support. And he goes on, right? I'm the purifier, I'm the goal, I'm the sustainer, I'm the witness, refuge, the most dear friend, right? So these are different ways that Krishna is teaching us how to remember him all the time. I'm the creation and annihilation, basis of everything, resting place, similar to the support, right? I give heat. I'm also death personality, personified, right? So somebody may die. Like even when somebody dies, we can think of Lord Krishna. Okay, the soul, there is no death, it goes into a different body. Thank you, Krishna. There's always ways to remember Lord Krishna, where we can always remember him, even when the situation is not very conducive. Okay, so one thing for you to remember from this, is that okay? Take one thing that you can internalize. This is actually from Bhagavad Gita. So from the 15th, this is from the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Okay. So this is a pretty busy slide, but it took a lot of time to put this together. So you can see in Bhagavad Gita chapter 10, I just put them in various buckets, right? As you can see, animals, birds, then you have plants. So, and then I dropped in whatever Krishna says in the 10th canto according to those categories there. So animals, he's saying I'm Uchai Shrava. Don't worry about Uchai Shrava, the particular horse. But any horse that you can think. You go to a zoo, you see a horse, right? You go to a farm, you see a horse. I can think of Lord Krishna. Airavata is an elephant. You can see elephant. Surabhi is the cow. Lion is a lion, right? So in various ways, Krishna is saying, don't think of me only when you are within ISCON Scarborough, ISCON Toronto, right? Wherever you are, you can think of me. Is that clear in this? That's the whole message from the verse that we are going to see. Okay? So that's from chapter 10. We'll take one more chapter, chapter 15. He's talking about 4 different things here, right? And the fire of digestion. Just imagine he gives us food, but then we can't digest the food. We will all die, right? So because of the fire of digestion in our stomach, we are able to digest the food that we eat. Otherwise, we will die, right? So, and then he's talking about his breath. Outgoing, incoming breath. Just imagine if you're not able to breathe, we are dead. How many people suffer in the hospital because of the lung problem? They're not able to. So we can always be grateful to Lord Krishna. Okay? So I'm the knower of Vedas as well. Okay, so here Lord Krishna has been giving us practical examples of what we can see around us. Those are all the triggers, right? You see a sun, you can think of Lord Krishna. You see moon, you can think of Lord Krishna, etc. Right? So that is in 7, 9, 10 and 15 chapter. So where we are able to remember Lord Krishna through his opulences, through his energies, through his manifestations and his expansions. Okay? So some example, I've just summarized what we covered in 7, 9, 15, etc. Right? I'm the light of the sun and moon, I'm the heat in the fire, I'm the life of all that lives, etc. Even death personified. Right? I'm time. Right? We're always, starting the class on time, ending the class on time, doing arati on time, catching the flight on time, etc. Right? So time is integral part of our life. Krishna says, I'm time. Okay? Now with all these examples, so still it depends on us going out and seeing specific things. Somebody may say, yeah, Krishna says, remember me all the time. Yes, now I know Krishna gives us a lot of examples. Yeah, I'm the sun, I'm the moon, heat of the sun, etc. But still, I need to look at the sun, go outside and look at the sun for me to remember Lord Krishna. Somebody can say that. I have to go out in the night and see the moon to see the moon, and then I can remember Lord Krishna. I have to see a horse and remember Lord Krishna, etc. Right? So the question is, relevant question is in the black background here. Is there a way I can remember Lord Krishna while doing my regular day-to-day activities, driving, eating, bathing, to get the same spiritual credits? Is there a way to turn everything that we do into spiritual or divine, hence remember Lord Krishna all the time? Last point. Can non-spiritual activities be made spiritual? Is that a relevant question for today? Right? So we can always say, yeah, Bhagavad Gita says, do this when we go out. Yeah, I have to remember Lord Krishna. So now we come to this verse that we wanted to cover. So this is the most practical verse that we can ever get in Bhagavad Gita 9.27. Yat karoshi yadashnashi yat juhoshi tadasi yat tapasyasi kaunteya tat kurushva madarpanam. So Lord Krishna talks about 5 things. So we not even go out and see the sun to remember him, to see the moon and remember him. He's saying, whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer, whatever you give away, whatever austerities you perform. So 5 different things, right? So more than 90% of what we do every day is not within the temple, not within our home altar, but it's what we do normally. Is that a fair statement? We take bath, we get dressed, we go to work, we drive, we sleep, we do everything else that might not be dovetail, at least so far. But here Krishna says, whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer or give away, but these are neutral or positive, okay, spiritually inclined based on the scripture. It's not like I go steal somewhere and I say, Krishna, I'm offering it to you, right? So these are either neutral or positively oriented based on what the scripture is saying. So this is a beautiful, beautiful purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki.
Yeah.
So here, he will not forget Krishna in any circumstances. I'm going by what I've underlined there, right? So fascinating purport here. So when we are able to think of Lord Krishna, we are always remembering Lord Krishna. We can also work for him. Remnants of the food stuff is offered to Krishna, and Krishna is saying, do it for me, which is Archana. And accumulated any surplus money should also be given towards organization or individuals who make use of it in a better way for the betterment of humanity. Okay? So this particular verse, Yat Karoshi Yadashnashi, you just saw which chapter was that? Which chapter? Chapter 9. Verse number? 27. Very good. So you see in the bottom there are 18 chapters, and the top on the left hand side you have the number of verses, right? So this 9th chapter has got 34 verses. Okay, now it's a quiz time. Which is the biggest chapter in Bhagavad Gita? 18. How many verses?
78.
78. Which is the smallest chapter in Bhagavad Gita?
12
And
15.
12 and 15, because it's got only 20 verses, right? So this is good aerial view of Bhagavad Gita, not just go into the trees and roots, right? Sometimes it's good to look at the forest and understand how things work out, right? So if you're interested starting to memorize Bhagavad Gita, it's not a bad start to start off with chapter 12 and chapter 15, because it's less number of verses, 20, okay? Okay, so these are different voices in Bhagavad Gita. I put this slide every time we have Gita Jayanti. So Lord Krishna spoke 575 verses, and then Arjuna spoke 83 verses, Sanjaya 41 verses, and Dhritarashtra, which verse is that? The first verse, first of 700 verses is by Dhritarashtra. Okay? So again, for those of you who've been to some of the classes that we have in Scarborough and elsewhere, when there is a PowerPoint presentation, I like to give you the overview of the chapter so that we get to understand how we got into this verse 27, right? So section 1 talks about hearing about Lord Krishna, 3 verses. Section 2, 7 verses talks about Krishna's inconceivable relationship with the material world. Third section talks about non-worshippers and worshippers. And this is the fourth section talks about comparing Devata worshippers and devotees. This is the section 5. We are talking about 9.27, 8 verses, and the glories of directly worshipping Lord Krishna. Okay. So this is, how did we get into this 27? So this 9.26, 9.27 and 9.28 are all interlinked with each other. Okay. So 9.26, Sri Krishna says, what is the 9.26 verse? Patram pushpam palam toyam yomya bhaktya, that verse, right? So if one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, flower, fruit or water, I will accept it. Does he say I may, I will think about it, right? I will, right? The key is devotion there, right? So that love and devotion is like the salt and masala powder, like 2 most important ingredients when we cook, right? So like that, for devotion it's love, and for bhakti it's love and devotion. So here, devotion comes before offering. Okay, remember God and then perform the activity. Is that okay? So here Krishna is saying, you know, devotion comes before offering. Think of me and then offer this, right? And then 9.27, what we are reviewing today is devotion comes after offering. Did you see the difference? Devotion comes after, if you read this, right? So read the first one. If one offers me with love and devotion, that means it's a forethought, right? Whereas here, it's almost an afterthought. Devotion comes after offering. Perform the activity, and even if you do it after, it can be simultaneous, right? Here, devotion comes while offering or after offering, but it is an afterthought. And 9.28, the last part, this 9.26, 27, and 28 comes together, right? So in this way, you will be freed from bondage to work and its auspicious and inauspicious result. With your mind fixed on me in this principle of renunciation, you will be liberated and come back to me. So either you do the devotional activity and then do the activity or action, or you do the action and think of the Lord. Either way, you're going back home, back to God. You'll be liberated. That okay? It's important, the difference between 9.26, 9.27 and how it all comes together as 9.28. Okay? So this is an example when we lie down in a bed and pull the blanket over us, right? Or you put the blanket and then lie down. Is there a big difference? Everybody follows? So you go lie down in your bed and put the blanket when it's minus 20, minus 30 outside. Or you take the blanket, put it on top of you and lie down on the bed, it's same. It will still give you the warmth, right? So that's what Krishna is saying. Devotion before action or action afterwards. So either way, or devotion afterwards, either way you get the full benefit, right? So if you wear eyeglasses and after you open a book, or you open a book and then wear, doesn't matter. It's the same. Okay, so that's the difference between 9.26 and 9.27. Are you okay with what we're covering so far? Okay, so again, it's a very practical verse. So this is the 364th verse out of the 700 verses. That's my little purport there, right? Spoken at 25th minute out of 48 minutes, right? Because again, it was spoken, Bhagavad Gita, it is said 48 minutes or 1.5 hours. Let's take 48 minutes. And then this is, you can say halfway 9th chapter. So say 25th minute, right? So whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer or give away, and whatever austerities you perform, do that, O son of Kunti, as an offering to me. Now, I've taken some of these verses from Bible as well. These are from New Testament, right? See the glorious similarities, right? So the important is the glorious similarity. Maybe we'll get someone else to read. Can we read the English translation in the black box? Anybody?
Thank you.
Anybody?
So whether you eat or drink or whatever you do it all for the glory of God.
So it's almost like a translation of 9.27, but this is from the New Testament, from the Bible, okay? So see the similarity between 9.27 and this? So I think we can do a class, during Christmas time. So we've gathered all the similarities between Bible verses and Bhagavad Gita. It'll be fascinating for you to see the similarities, right? So we can do that during Christmas time. Okay, one more, maybe you can continue.
And whatever you do, whether in word or deed, do it all in the name of Lord Jesus, giving thanks to God the Father through him.
So again, whatever you do, whether in word or deed, do it in the name of the Lord. So forget about the Lord Jesus or any specific Lord, to the Lord, right? So that's the commonality in the purpose there. And one more.
Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for the Lord, not for human masters.
This is my favorite, right? And it should be favorite for all of us, right? So don't work for human masters, right? So if my manager is walking by, I'm typing, he's not there, do whatever you want. He's coming and you see and you start doing, right? Why would we work for a human master when we know we are working for the master of all masters, right? So he's always watching. Last Sunday we did a class in the Toronto temple on the 12 witnesses, right? There's always Surya Agni Kamaru Devala Soma Sandhyayani Dasa Kampu Swayam Dharmeti Ete Dayasi Sakshina. 12 witnesses are always watching what you're doing, right? So why you worry whether your manager is watching or not? There is always this manager of all managers. You're working for him, right? So one more.
So eat of the sustenance which Allah has provided for you, lawful and good, and be grateful for the favors of Allah, if it is He whom you serve.
Yeah, Allah means the great one, right? So don't get too caught up with specific names. Allah means great one, as we know, right? So God. So the similarity, so what we are showing is the similarity here, right? So this verse validates the compassionate nature of the God, of the Lord, right? So He's always ready to help us in all circumstance. And the main reason for this verse is it will ensure that we don't carry luggage in our onward spiritual journey. So you see all these big pictures with big bags, etc. We don't need to carry it all the way, right? So it will help us reach our destination or our destiny very early. So if we offer whatever we do to Him, so we are offloading the luggage. Any of the negative things that may come from there, we are offloading to the Lord, right?
So that's the karma baggage, Prabhu?
It's not mine because this is very small.
I know, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, so you can think of the karma baggage you are offloading when you are offering to the Lord whatever we do. So whatever we do is relative. You may be a doctor, you may be an engineer, you may be a housewife. Doesn't matter. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer, whatever you give away, whatever austerities you perform, do it as an offering to Him. Okay? Very simple but powerful. This is an eye-opener, right? So all of you would have heard about Dattatreya, right? So he's the sixth incarnation of Lord Krishna. We read from Srimad Bhagavatam. And it is said that when he enacted the role of a sage, he'll carry a bag with him and go for alms in everybody's house, right? So you'll ask, okay, I've come here. Have you got any sins that you have committed? Put it in this bag. I'm taking it. Okay? So he'll take away everybody's sin and then he'll go. That is Dattatreya, right? So when you offer whatever we do, whether it's neutral or positive, then any of the baggage that are associated with it are taken by the Lord, as you can see in this incarnation of Dattatreya. Okay? So even neutral, mundane activity is transformed into spiritual by this 9.27 verse. Again, we're not adding anything, we're not deleting, as it is. 9.27 verse is what we are reading. So it's the mercy of the Lord, and He's waiting for us to go back to the spiritual world. So He's making it so simple. Is that not right? Is this verse not right? If He had said, okay, for you to come back home, I want you to go to Himalayas, go to Everest 5 times a year, and then I'll think of taking you back, right? So that's difficult, right? So this is the most simplest thing. Whatever you are doing, continue to do, but offer it to me, right? So He's making it so simple, and everybody is doing something, right? That's why we gave this example. You may be a housewife, you may be unemployed, it doesn't matter. You're still doing something. Do it for Krishna. So it is not, devotion is not to be restricted to the 4 walls of the temple, which means don't imprison Lord Krishna to the temple walls. Okay, don't imprison Lord Krishna to the temple walls. He's everywhere else as well, right? As we read from 7, 9, 15th and other chapters of Bhagavad Gita, and here Lord Krishna says, whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer, whatever you give away, whatever sacrifices you do it for me. So that means do not imprison Lord Krishna with one location. You can think of Him in many different ways, in many different areas as well. This is another one, Saint Kabir, right? So this is something that we can all take with us, right? He's saying, whenever I walk, I feel I'm circumambulating the Lord's temple. So all of you, many of you would have gone for Vrindavan Parikrama, Govardhan Parikrama, etc. Is that a fair statement? Many of you would have gone around a temple premises. If not Govardhan, Vrindavan, somewhere in South India, somewhere you'll go around where there's an opportunity to go around the temple, right? So even when you have to walk, there is a flat tire, you have to walk for some time. Think in terms of, doing a pradakshina around, circumambulating the temple, right? So you're dovetailing even the mundane to become spiritual, right? And he's saying, whenever I go to sleep, you're lying down flat, right? So he thinks of offering obeisances to the Lord. Doesn't matter if you lie down this way, but even if you are facing up, you can meditate that you are offering obeisances to the Lord. So making the mundane, transforming the secular to spiritual. Okay? So this instruction by Lord Krishna is for our benefit, not for His benefit. Do we all agree? So if you think of Lord Krishna, what does He gain? Whereas what do we gain, right? So we get purified consciousness, and perfect consciousness will take us back home, back to God. So it's for our benefit. And this instruction is for whom? Is for man or women? Both. Is it for rich or poor? Is it for Canadian or Indian or Bangladeshi devotees or non-devotees? It's for everybody, right? So this is there's no prerequisite, there is no qualification for this. And if you do something, so again he's saying, do it for me, right? So and don't forget, whatever you're offering, you're giving time to Lord Krishna. Who gave you that time?
Krishna.
Lord Krishna is giving you the time. I'm flashing this great $5 bill. Hey, I'm putting $5 into the donation box. Who's made that opportunity for me to earn the $5, right? If somebody was given the same opportunity, that's what I think, right? Prabhu was mentioning I travel a lot, yeah. If anyone else was given the same opportunity that is given to me, they would have done 100 times better than me. That's how I think, right? Like, I'm not qualified to do this, and because he's given me this opportunity, this $5, $100, $10,000, whatever you give for any donation purpose, it is not yours. It is Lord Krishna's. You're offering it back to him. Like Ganges, right? You go to Ganga, what do? You take the water and offer it to Ganga, right? So like that, like child takes the father's chocolate and he gives it back to the child. The father is very happy. He won't say, oh, this is something that you chewed and you give it back to me, right? So that's the love and affection of the child to the father, giving back what belongs to the father back to the father, right? So everything belongs to Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna is Atmaram. That means he's totally self-satisfied. Oh, please think of me. Oh, you give me leaf, flower, fruit or water. I'm so hungry. It's not he's hungry for our love and devotion, but it's not for him to gain, but for us to gain from this endeavor, right? And he's also called as Bhavagrahi Janardana. So he's just looking for the mood and love and devotion, not for the actual thing. There are many examples. We're not getting into that. The easiest or a couple of examples that we can think of is Shabari offering the half-eaten fruit to Lord Rama. Remember that? And then we also have this wife of Vidura offering banana peel instead of the actual banana to Lord Krishna. So again, Krishna is not, and he ate it with relish, right? He loved it so much. So he's looking for the devotion and love and the mood, not the actual thing that is given. So great opportunity for us to transform the non-spiritual, that is secular, to become spiritual here. So I'm going to repeat this again. Do not imprison God inside the Sunday temple. Okay, so God is outside, everywhere, in our own hearts. Okay, so I just calculated this morning, right? New York is the wealthiest city in the whole world. Okay, there are 350,000 millionaires in New York City. Okay, 350,000 millionaires and 59 billionaires. So the total private wealth of New York City alone is 3 trillion. I don't even know how many zeros are there, but it's a lot of money. The answer, why I'm putting this, who cares, right? Because that's just one city, right? But on the right hand side, we know the Supreme Lord is the Lord of all the planets and the Devatas. So this is just one planet, right? Earth is just one. We talk about New York City is one city within this larger New York state. And then you have North America, then you have America, Canada, you have Europe. That's all one country. So here, Supreme Lord of all planets, not just Earth, but all planets as well, and the Devatas. And Krishna says, I'm the source of all the spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. So just you cannot even compare what it is, but even that is wow. That wow becomes nothing when you see what is there on the right hand side. Okay? So it's not like you are doing a favor. We are doing a favor for the Lord when we are dropping the $5, $10 into the donation box or anything like that. Everything belongs to the Lord. It's just we are opening our heart to give back what was given to us by the mercy of the Lord. Okay, so let's break this down. We have about 10 minutes. Let's break this down. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer, whatever you give away, whatever austerities you perform, do that as an offering to me, right? Okay, so here, whatever you do, it can be neutral or following the injunction as we heard, right? So what you do is for yourself or for the temple or for employer or for family or for friends. Is that a fair statement? We're covering everything. Whatever you do, you'll be either doing for yourself or for your relatives, or for your friends, or extended friends and employers, etc. So you may be cooking in the temple, you may help your neighbor move some of the things to a newer home. So, and you take more responsibilities in a temple, you drive people to work or to temple, etc. You sleep, you wake up, all these are different things that you do, right? My dear Lord Krishna, don't complain that you are getting old, because that's a privilege that is denied to many. Okay? Do not ever complain, oh, I'm getting old. That's a privilege that is denied to many. Many people sleep and they don't wake up, right? So it's a thank you, Krishna. You've given me this opportunity to see another day. I'm able to breathe. I'm able to walk. I'm able to drive. I'm able to have a car. Right? I have insurance. I'm able to pay for that. Many people cannot. I can see. If I can't see, if I'm blind, even if I have money, I can't drive a car. Right? So thank you. We have reasons to be grateful for everything that we do, to think of Lord Krishna all the time. Okay? So we should be grateful. We're able to wear our own shirt and pant. You know how many people find it difficult to just put a zip, right? To open up, some bottle of even water, they can't open it. The hands don't work, right? It will happen at some point. So be grateful for everything by thinking of Lord Krishna's 9.27. Whatever you do, offer it to me. Krishna, thank you, I'm able to do it, right? I'm able to taste the water. Varuna is the personality responsible for us to taste everything, right? So whatever you do, even you are sleeping, I'm so comfortable, Krishna, you've given me a bed. You know how many times we have had no sleep, especially you're going to India in an economy class in that plane. If you sit down at that time, when you're actually sleeping like this, you're so grateful, my dear Krishna. And even if you're not so comfortable in a plane like that, then you can offer it as a sacrifice to Lord Krishna. My dear Lord Krishna, eventually I'm coming back to India. There are so many temples that I'm going to see. It's a small sacrifice that I'm going to. Right? So there's always a way where we can think of Lord Krishna in whatever we do every day. Okay? So we have reasons to be grateful. Okay? And then whatever you eat, right? So we chant Mahaprasade Govinde. We'll do that in the next 45 minutes or so, right? So be thankful for what Lord has given to us. And also 3.13, that's one of the favorite verses, right? Right? So if you are able to offer or cook the food for the Lord, Bhoga, as it is being offered, as you can see, it's being offered to the Lord before we eat. I don't know, for those of you who've been here few times, or relative newcomers, you see they're offering to the Lord and then they're going and mixing it with the bigger containers, etc., so that we eat what was offered to the Lord. That's exactly 3.13, right? You are released from all kinds of sin if food that is offered to the Lord is eaten. Otherwise, we eat only sin, right? So in South India, when you go, what do they do before they eat? What do they do? You're aware of that? What do they do in South India? They take rice, right? They do Om Barbaswa, sprinkle water. They create a boundary around the plate of rice, and then they'll take, the plain cooked rice, right? Pranaya Swaha, Apanaya Swaha, Dhyanaya Swaha, Udanaya Swaha, Samanaya Swaha. So you offer that, not even touching your mouth, right? That's to the Lord in the heart. You first offer it, right? So you offer that rice to the Lord, and then you do it. So whatever you eat, you can offer it to the Lord. Even Christians do offer grace, the prayer, right, before they eat. So, anybody remembers the picture on the left-hand side? Where is that? Yeah, Radha Damodar Mandir, right? So it's a beautiful temple. Rupa Goswami and other Goswamis, you can go around as a parikrama there as well. So that you can meditate when you're walking, as though you're doing a parikrama around Radha Damodar Mandir as well. Okay, so next one is whatever you offer, right? So what is that you can offer? Think in terms of, offering your non-devotee, right? You can offer congratulations, condolences. Somebody may have died, right? You're offering condolences, right? So you're offering congratulations, condolences, you're offering appreciations, you're offering encouragement, kind words, smile, many things you may do, right? You can offer it to the Lord, right? Even you're offering the prasad to others, right? So bhoga to the Lord, prasad to others. You can always think of Lord Krishna. So again, we made it very practical here so that we can make use of this, and we can think of Lord Krishna more frequently than we thought of Lord Krishna before. If it was once a Sunday, now it can be every day, every hour, by these practical examples. Okay, we spent a lot of time to put this together, so hopefully, there are lessons to be learned from all of this, right? So whatever you offer, we talked about it, right? So aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva is the fire of digestion in our heart. So even when we are eating, we have to be grateful to the Lord. If we are not having this fire of digestion, we are dead, right? Okay, so charity. This one is whatever you give away. I don't want to go into the details of this, But basically, you know, when you give things away, money is like blood. It has to keep flowing. So if you hold on to money, eventually you would have seen at some point we save. Oh, car accident, insurance doesn't cover $10,000 down the drain. Right? So this will invariably happen. Okay, voluntary sacrifice will save you from involuntary sort of punishments, you can say. Right? So this is a practical example. So always continue to give wherever you can, then you will see a big transformation in your life. This is a very practical example. Okay, so voluntarily you give away, involuntarily it will not be taken away. Is that okay? Voluntarily when you give, you will have less involuntary takeaways from us. Okay, so it talks about you know, what to give, how to give, etc. Right? So that's what you give away, and this is some more examples. Right? Whatever you give away, donation, clothing, right? Food donation, book donation, and you have many other ways to give away what you have. Right? These are some of the examples. The bottom right hand side is a check, right? So even when you give away, think in terms of Lord Krishna and giving it, right? So for the good purpose that you are giving. So all this is transforming the secular to spiritual. Okay, whatever austerities, this is the last part of this particular verse, right? Whatever austerity. So I try to explain as much as possible the difference between austerity, penance, and yajna. Okay? So austerity means it's preventive action. What is that? Preventive action. Damage did not happen, but you're doing something to prevent that from happening. Okay, that's preventive action. That's austerity or tapasya. Prayashchitta, penance, is corrective action. The damage is already done and you're doing something to offset that. Feeding the poor, going to the holy dham, taking bath in a holy river. All that is prayashchitta, which is a atonement, corrective action. And yajna means sacrifice, right? So active engagement in religious practice is yajna. So when you chant the holy name, it includes all three. It includes the austerity or tapasya, it includes the penance or prayashchitta, as well as yajna or sacrifice as well. Okay? So Krishna is saying, whatever you do, oh, I'm fasting for Janmashtami. Krishna, I'm doing it for you. Then you're transforming that. Because you can eat less to have a better body. That is just mundane, right? But you're transforming it to Krishna, for Krishna, then it becomes spiritual. Okay? So the summary is, Lord Krishna says, whatever we do scripturally or neutrally, offer it to Him. There's no qualification, there's no prerequisite. Krishna does not say you can do this only after you get X initiations or you go to temple X number of times. There's no prerequisite. Okay? And Lord Krishna explains the technique of bringing worship into our daily life. That's what we covered for the last 50 minutes or so. Worship into daily life. Whatever we offer, whatever we are doing, we are remembering. So that means we are offloading the luggage. Hence our onward spiritual journey becomes lighter. Right? So I travel a lot, as I said. Just imagine carrying the backpack, another hand luggage, etc. When you travel light, you are able to reach your destiny or destination much faster. And how can you do that? Offload it to Krishna. Right? Krishna says, offer it to me. Bring the spirit of worship into our actions. So any action that you're doing, bring the spirit of worship. Perform all actions as an act of worship. Okay? Are we okay so far?
Yes.
Okay? And then it is for our benefit that Lord Krishna is giving this instruction, because He is fully satisfied, self-satisfied. He's Atmaram and He's Bhavagrahi Janardana. Is looking at the mood and the intent of what we are offering. And one more slide. Whatever we offer, Krishna says, we also know that it's not ours. The fruit. Can anybody manufacture a fruit?
No.
Right? Water. We take things for granted. You think Aquafina is making the water? They're just bottling it. Okay, so you get water from natural things, like Krishna is giving the rain. It's coming from rivers. The glaciers melt. Right? So any water, it's like milk also. Right? If you ask a child who's never seen a cow, where does the milk come from? From Walmart. Right? It's not from Walmart. It is from the cows. Eventually, the source of everything is the cow in this case. Right? So external mundane actions are spiritualized because of internal gratitude. Okay, so very important. Okay, so even the mundane activities like driving become spiritualized because of the internal gratitude towards Lord Krishna. I'm able to do this because of you, my dear Lord. Okay, Devotion is not to be restricted to the periphery of the temple room, but it is to be engaged at every moment in our life. If you keep it Sunday to Sunday, it's too infrequent, right? Sunday to Sunday won't do it. It has to be on an ongoing basis. Do not imprison God into the Sunday temple, okay? Don't ever do that and lock himself and go, right? So it's not like he's there, he's not watching or there to help me. Let God be involved in everyday life. This is important. The quality of devotion is directly proportional to the quality of reciprocation by the Lord. Okay? 4.11, right? You take some steps, Lord will come. Actually, 100 steps closer towards you. But the quality of devotion is directly proportional to the quality of reciprocation. Or you can change it. Quality of reciprocation is directly proportional to the quality of your devotion to the Lord. Okay, so simply changing our internal attitude, you will be able to get this done. Okay, so always remember Krishna. That means we are protected, and the consciousness is changing for the better, and we ensure that we go back home, back to Godhead. Just take a minute to ask any questions. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So are there any questions? I know I mentioned that I'm going to ask some of you what. Maybe we'll ask anything. Take away from chapter 7 for you to think practically. Chapter 7, anybody? Yes?
Taste of water.
Say again?
Taste of water.
Taste of water. Yeah, so whenever you're drinking, not just water, some juice as well, because the foundation of water. Even if you make chapati, the dough is there, you have to mix water in it, right? So water is an integral part of it. 9. Chapter 9.
Yeah, all the Vedas.
I am the source of all the Vedas. Okay. Chapter 15. Okay, so it's getting challenging, but any thoughts or questions on this particular 9.27, the practical verse? Yes, Prabhu.
I have a question.
Yes, Mother, is that okay? We're wrapping in 30 seconds.
You don't need to speak.
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks for the introduction class.
Thank you.
And my question is like offering to Krishna, thinking about Krishna, I'm not the body. All these things are mechanical, even now. How do you bring the shift in the seriousness of
Yeah, so just taking one part of it, I'm not the body part of it, right? So it's true that second chapter, Lord Krishna explains very early that we are not the body, we are the spirit soul. But don't forget that, right? If body is the temple of the soul, okay? So Lord Krishna is also there. We got to take care of the body to keep the body and soul together. If we don't keep the body and soul together, then we can't even do the arati, right? You're going to see we can't even do the arati, hands won't function. We can't even chant the mantras, right? If you don't, no, I'm not the body, I'm not going to eat anything, right? So we've got to balance that. So Krishna does not say in the second chapter in the battlefield, Arjuna, why did you wear a helmet? Why did you wear a nice cloth? He didn't say that. That's not the meant for we are not the body. Right? We are not the body is meant for the relatives of Arjuna who are going to die and then they are going to come back. The soul will take another birth. Right? So practically speaking, so it's just each one of these items should be taken into context from our perspective. Yes. Both sides of the story, we are not the body, but at the same time, we need to take care of the body to keep the body and soul together, because we can't even do spiritual activities if we don't keep our body and soul together. Right? So, again, repetition causes retention, so we keep reiterating with these practical aspects of Bhagavad Gita, how we can internalize them, imbibe them, and increase the frequency of us thinking of Lord Krishna more often. Okay? Hopefully, to an extent, it answered the question. Okay, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.